Welcome to today's webinar, Leveraging GIS for Stormwater Compliance. I'm Todd Danielson, the Editorial Director of Informed Infrastructure, and I'll be moderating the event and hosting the Q&A later in this presentation. Before we get started, I'd like to run a quick audience poll to find out where you're from and which industries and sectors you work in. Now, this poll will pop up on your screen, as you can see it now, so please be sure to fill it in and then hit the submit button on the survey. Now, we'd like to have an interactive event for today, so please enter your questions at any time into the Q&A space located on the bottom navigation bar of your screen. Now, there's no need to raise your hand, just post all questions in the Q&A space. Presenters will respond to questions at the end of all the presentations in a panel discussion. Also, please be sure to participate in all the audience polls if and when they pop up. For information about speakers and event agenda, click the Resources tab at the bottom of your screen. We've also shared some useful links in the Resources section, which you can click to access at any time. This session is being recorded and will be available for download on demand after the event. You will receive an email notifying you when the recording is available. The Leveraging GIS for Stormwater Compliance session is part of the ongoing GIS and AI for Local Government Compliance Reporting and Asset Management series. We'd like to thank our series sponsors, Carasoft and Bad Elf, as well as this session sponsors, Bentley Systems and Berntsen, for making this educational opportunity available for you. Now, today's featured speakers are Brandi Rank, Senior Product Engineer at Esri, Jay Hodny, GIS Technician for the City of Newark, Delaware, Shawnetta Grandberry, Senior Program Manager of Construction Management and Inspection for the City of Carlsbad, California, Julio Kuwajima, Senior Application Engineer for Bentley Systems, and Jake Lahmann, Director of Sales and Business Development for Berntsen International. So just before we get started with today's presentations, let's take a quick look at those poll results. Okay, so we can see that most of you are from local government, a little bit from industry, some state government, but I think that's almost everybody's from the United States. So we know a lot more about our audience, and I think that will help the speakers can understand. Maybe they can tailor a little bit of what they're going to say towards the audience now that they know that. That said, let's get started so we can have as much time as possible later on for the Q&A. So I'm pleased to welcome our first speaker, Brandi Rank from Esri.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me today. So my name is Brandi Rank, and I'm a Principal Product Engineer on the ArcGIS Solutions team. And today I'm going to highlight some of the solutions that we have developed to support the stormwater industry. So before I begin, I want to explain a little bit what I mean by ArcGIS Solutions. So ArcGIS Solutions is the largest collection of solutions in the geospatial industry. The collection of ArcGIS solutions are all built to align with users' business needs, helps assist in transforming the use of ArcGIS in your organization, and to maximize investments already being made in location-based data. Solutions are industry-specific configurations of ArcGIS. They're designed to improve operations, provide new insight, and enhance services. They come with your ArcGIS subscription and are fully supported. You can deploy ArcGIS solutions in minutes and get them up and running quickly in either ArcGIS Online or with your ArcGIS Enterprise on infrastructure you manage. For you folks in the stormwater industry, we have quite a large portfolio of solutions that you might be interested in. Today, however, I'm going to focus on these 5 solutions I've highlighted. To get started, let's talk about the Stormwater Data Management solution. This was developed to help our users streamline the creation and management of stormwater system assets, and to increase organizational efficiency by making information available to support operations and make better decisions. So when you deploy one of our solutions, you essentially get a system for managing your stormwater assets. This diagram showing the main applications included in the solution. They support workflows to map stormwater assets, edit data in the field, and provide you the ability to view system maps in the field and the office. So as a field worker, you may use an application on your mobile device to view assets or even add data while in the field. In the office, you can edit stormwater data in ArcGIS Pro, which is our desktop application, but you can also edit data in the web. And a pre-configured dashboard gives you the ability to summarize your system data. Another solution we offer is the catch basin and outlet inspection solution. This is going to help streamline your inspections, understand those asset conditions, and support the regulatory compliance needs. When you deploy this solution, you're provided a pre-configured maps and apps that gets your organization up and running to record inspections in the field, manage those inspection activities in the office, and provide asset and inspection information to anyone in the organization as you choose. So a field worker may use the application on their mobile device to conduct inspections. This comes with a pre-configured form for easy entry. In the office, you can view and add inspections in a web application, and you can use the pre-configured dashboards to give you the ability to understand inspection results and the program progress. Another solution for inspections is our Stormwater BMP inspection solution, which will be available this year in July. This will help you streamline those stormwater BMP inspections, manage the private BMP submissions from the public, and then understand the overall program performance. So this solution, Stormwater BMP Inspections, comes with a set of applications to plan your inspections and monitor those inspection activities. And then another group of applications are configured to manage electronic submissions from the public for the stormwater BMPs on their property. A field worker is going to use applications on their mobile device to conduct inspections in the field with the pre-configured form. In the office, users can view and add inspections in a web application, use pre-configured dashboards, which give you the ability to understand inspection results and program progress. Now, I know many of you also have to conduct inspections on active construction sites. So aside from those asset inspection related solutions, we also have the stormwater construction activity management solution. This is going to help you optimize those stormwater construction inspections through ongoing construction, safeguard water quality to support regulatory compliance. So this solution includes mobile applications to inspect active construction sites. You can collect observational information when in the field. And when your inspection form is completed, a report is emailed to the inspector before leaving the site. In the office, stormwater managers can access all the completed inspections along with every photo, even those not included in the report. Pre-configured dashboards provide insight into trends such as regularly failing control measures and maybe contractors with higher failure rates. So the field user can tap an active construction site in the field and conduct inspections as well as follow-up inspections. You can also collect data in the field, such as the specific location of a stormwater control measure. They might want to record where that is today. In the office, applications are configured for office users to see inspection results, including all the photos. With the focus moving to public engagement and ensuring that your assets are performing correctly, you could deploy the Adopt a Catch Basin solution. This is going to help you engage the public and solicit volunteers to help provide ongoing maintenance of your catch basins. So this solution comes with a website to help you share catch basin maintenance information, share the adoption status of your catch basins, and encourage participation in the adoption program. There are digital forms to help you solicit service requests, problem reports from volunteers, and this will help you tackle those small problems before they become too big. And an application helps you manage volunteer applications, service requests, and catch basin adoption details. Here we can see an easy to use application form, which the public uses to adopt a catch basin and report cleaning activities performed on those. Pre-configured dashboard provides office users the ability to monitor the volunteer program and incoming requests for service. So that was just a brief overview of some of the ArcGIS solutions developed for the stormwater industry. Just want to highlight the solutions are free with your subscription, and within a few minutes, they're deployed and ready to use. My contact information is on the screen if you have any further questions. So now I'm honored to introduce Jay Hodny. He's the GIS technician for the city of Newark, Delaware, and he will share how he uses GIS to support his stormwater team. Thanks, Jay.
Okay, can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can. Thanks, Jay. Go ahead.
Okay, well, hello everybody. Again, my name is Jay Hodny and I am with the City of Newark. I'm their GIS technician and I sit in the Public Works and Water Resources office or department. Today, my co-conspirators here, Brian Laws, an engineering technician, and Mark Neimeister, our water operations superintendent. We're going to present and discuss a stormwater management area inspection solution that we put together back in 2022 to help streamline our inspection and report deliverable process. So the three of us kind of make an ad hoc GIS team in the Public Works Department in the City of Newark. So this presentation is going to be a bit of nuts and bolts, kind of pull back the curtain and show the attendees that are interested in how we actually put this solution together. So a little bit of background. This is the city of Newark, Delaware. It's not Newark, Ohio. It's not Newark, New Jersey, but it's in Newark, Delaware. We're about 9.4 square miles in size. The last census showed 30,601 people living within the corporate limits. The main campus of the University of Delaware does reside within the city limits of Newark. And we have 23,600 students or so school year to school year. So we have a very interesting and pronounced seasonal population shift between 3 months in the summer and the 9 months during the school year. And as you can imagine, it places some interesting demands on city services. The photo on the right is our main street looking east-west. And usually once a summer, we close the street to vehicular traffic and we get to march up and down Main Street and enjoy outdoor dining and vendors and music and so on. It's a fun college town. I've lived here for many years, got my graduate degrees here and so on. But for today, we're going to focus on our stormwater management area inspections, our best management practice areas. Within the corporate limits, we now have about 460 BMPs. Classified into 12 different types. They're owned and maintained by the City of Newark or by the University of Delaware, or they might be on private properties, say in adjacent to a parking lot on a apartment complex. The Delaware Environmental Regulatory Agency, DENREC, has us inspect the BMPs in Newark, and we do this once a year. And we have 3 inspectors who go out and do this work, this inspection work. So the past workflow I call a fillable PDF workflow. And basically the inspector visits a BMP and does the inspection, scribbles down some notes on paper and clipboard, and then at some point comes back and opens up a fillable PDF form, and there's a separate form for each BMP type, and completes the inspection information in the form. Then there's a Word document that serves as a cover letter that needs to be updated. If there are any photos taken, you need to find those and arrange them and insert them in another Word document. There's an invoice somewhere along the way, and ultimately you print all this stuff, put it all together, and mail it out, and then follow up as needed. And the process works. It works well. It's worked for a number of years. But we thought with the ArcGIS technology that there was room for improvement in how we captured the data and then how we reported the data. So here's a look at one of these fillable PDF forms. And if you look in the upper left above the green horizontal line, you can see some fields with some data. And I call these the BMP static questions. The responses to these questions don't change year to year to year, except for the review date and possibly the inspector. And then the remainder of these fillable PDF forms contain all of the questions, the inspection questions for that specific BMP. And these forms can be 3 or 4 pages long, or we have one I think is 10 pages of questions. And so we wanted to take this form and convert it into and use it in our GIS platform. So the GIS-centric inspection looks something like this. Again, the inspector visits and inspects the BMP, but instead of using this PDF form, they now open a BMP web map in Field Maps or in a browser. And in that web map, in a pop-up that opens, you have a link that then opens Survey 123 on your phone or in the browser. And now you complete the survey form, you take your photos and submit the record. Thereafter, the mechanics of generating that final report with the cover letter and the report information or the inspection information photos, that's all been fully automated behind the scenes. So essentially, we're printing a single document plus the invoice, assembling it all and mailing it out. I would like to see us move more towards an email deliverable or a portal hub download, something like that. But for now, that part of the process is still a paper product. Follow-up is needed. But then under this GIS-centric inspection workflow, we now are capturing that BMP inspection data in related tables within the GIS environment. So if for some reason we need to go back in time and look at a past inspection, we're not having to sift through a bunch of network folders, finding that PDF report. We can just go right to the BMP and GIS, click on it, and get information on our past inspections. So how did we do this? So this is getting in a little bit of the nuts and bolts. So in our local government model, our local government schema in ArcGIS, we have a stormwater management area feature class. And I started by taking all of these BMP static questions you see on the right and adding those to that feature class. And if I could use coded value domains, I created those as well. The idea there is to make this as simple as possible for our inspector to click on or make choices to answer the questions. And then the next thing we did is we added in the recipient name and address fields. This is the person or entity that is going to physically get that report at the end of the day. I wanted to have that information available and cascade it through the workflow so it would land in the cover letter that comes along with the inspection report. From there, I then basically made 12 copies of this, I call it the master feature class, but one feature class for each unique BMP type, and that feature class then has each of the BMP feature records for that unique feature type. Then we looked at those fillable PDFs and we began to create fields that represented the questions in the fillable PDF form, but now they're fields in the attribute table for each of those feature classes. So what I'm trying to show you there on the right is the fillable PDF. The lower left is a snapshot of an attribute table for a particular BMP. And you can see I've got drainage area to bioretention cell, control of trash is a question, condition of vegetation is a question. And down then in the attribute table, you can see I have drainage trash, drainage vegetation, that kind of stuff. And again, if I can code the domain, I would do that to make it easy for the inspectors to choose a good, fair rapport in this case. So if you can imagine, each question or note in these fillable PDF forms becomes a unique field. And if you have an inspection form that's 10 pages long, that's a lot of fields. And then the final thing we did in the beginning was to make sure any available data we had from past inspections, or at least about the BMP itself, that information was populated in the feature classes. And the idea here is I like to build stuff way upstream, get as much together as far upstream as possible, and then let it cascade through the workflow down to that final deliverable. I didn't want to make a change somewhere in the middle and then risk overwriting it again, make a change, overwrite it again, that kind of thing. So then the next step was to get this into the WebGIS environment. So in ArcGIS Pro, we published each of these 12 feature classes as individual BMP services with an edit version. Then we took those services as templates and brought them into Survey123 Connect, and we created the Survey123 inspection forms from those templates. By using the service templates, we were able to maintain the field names and the domains from the feature class through the services into the survey form. So we weren't having to create all kinds of additional naming. Then we built the web map that has all the service layers. And in the pop-up, we created a custom URL. And I'll show you how this works in just a moment. Basically, this URL starts to do the heavy lifting. It is passing the data from the service into the form. Any of that static information, the name of the BMP, the location of the BMP, moves into the form. If there's the recipient information, moves into the form, but the inspectors don't see it. That's hidden in the background and just kind of rides along. And then any past inspection information that might be available, that is moved into the form. So here is a web map with our BMPs. If you click on one of them, it opens a pop-up. In the pop-up, you can see that static information there, the type of BMP and who owns it and so on, is returned to the screen. That just lets the inspector know they're in the right place. Then there are two links to our Survey123 forms. One link goes to an inspection if you're repeating an inspection on a BMP that has been inspected in the past. When you click on that, the past inspection information is passed into the current form. If it's a brand new BMP, it's never been inspected before, you click on the other link and you essentially get a bare bones form with some of that initial BMP information that you see in the pop-up added. The symbology here is simple. It's red needs to be inspected, green has been inspected. One of our inspectors does all of the University of Delaware inspections, so he wanted those to show up separate from his other ones, and that's the purple and blue. So let's try and see how this works. So let's inspect a BMP. So I've opened field maps on my phone. I have opened the web map that has my BMP inspection layer. I've zoomed in, navigated to a BMP and clicked on it, and that opens the pop-up. And that's the same pop-up we see here, is now just in open in field maps. And I know that this is a BMP that I've inspected in the past, so I'll click on Annual BMP Inspection. That then opens the Survey123 form for this particular BMP. If you look carefully, you can see project ID is filled in, county is filled in, the site name, the general location. That stuff has all been passed into the survey form from the past inspection. And then the inspector scrolls along and he can see the answers to the questions from the year before. He can update them as needed, gets through to the end, takes a picture, and then submits the BMP inspection record. And then it magically flies through the air and lands in our ArcGIS platform. At that point, the inspection is over for this particular BMP. The inspector can jump in their truck and drive on to the next one. Then we get to the final report deliverable. This is, again, the cover letter result and so on. So we started down the path of using ArcGIS Online. In the Survey123 app in ArcGIS Online, there is a wonderful reporting function. It's easy to build the templates. It's easy to use. When Enterprise 10.9 came along, they had added the reporting function to 10.9.1, and we really wanted to keep this internal facing. So we morphed everything over to Enterprise. We created the word templates and so on. And we got ready to generate our first reports. We were so happy. We weren't going to burn credits. This is going to work great. And this big error pops up saying not compatible with integrated Windows authentication. And that was unexpected. And this is a little outside of my wheelhouse, but it became somewhat of a showstopper for us at the moment. So we decided, well, do we go back to ArcGIS Online, morph everything back there and use it that way? Do we scrap the entire GIS-centric workflow altogether and return to the fillable PDF forms? No, we wanted to continue with the optimization, the streamlining of this process. And so we went down the path of learning Python and then building a pretty substantial Python script that utilizes Word's mail merge utility. And so we built Word mail merge templates in a Python script to rescue us in this dilemma we have here on how to streamline the reporting part of the workflow. So in Python, essentially, it is pulling everything together. It imports the Python modules and the libraries and the Word docx stuff. It imports our Word templates. It imports the survey records, the photos, the signature, and then it takes all that information and populates the Word template. And then at the end of the script, it actually writes the report and saves it to a folder on our network. We even have it naming the script, or the file is being named by the script, just so our inspectors aren't having to copy and paste and rename all that kind of stuff. And essentially, this is what the report looks like. You have the cover letter on the left. You've got a few pages here of the actual inspection report. And if you can remember back to the example I showed of the fillable PDF, you can see it has a very similar look and feel. We didn't want to send a brand new report to the regulators and surprise them. We wanted to kind of preserve the look and feel as much as possible. Then you have the inspector signature inserted in the photographs. So everything is there and all done automatically. We run this script in Windows Task Scheduler as needed, and when we need it, we have a love-hate relationship with Task Scheduler. Let me just leave that comment out there as is. So this is basically where we are at with this solution that we started to put together in 2022. And, we start getting the question, what's the return on the investment? Don't ask me how long it took us to put this together, because we worked on it, then we got on other projects and we came back to it and so on. So I don't have any hard and fast percentages saved or money saved. I wish I did. But I can tell you this. This new GIS-centric workflow is far fewer steps, and there's a shift in where the work is happening. And basically, the inspector, if need be, by the time they get back to the office, the report is ready for an eyes-on review if it's needed. We have standardized in the inspection and reporting workflow by pulling it into GIS. All the inspectors basically followed kind of the same path to go from A to B, but they had their nuances and their exceptions in how they inspected and reported a BMP inspection. Well, this puts much more rigor into it. It's obviously very standardized and very streamlined. In the process, we uncovered that we had to clean up some of our BMP data because we had past inspections going on. Some of the BMPs were not identified correctly by the BMP type, things like that. So as we started to use this in the first year and the second year, we started getting questions back from the inspectors like, hey, this isn't working, that isn't working, that kind of stuff. So it was a bit of a minor frustration at first, but a huge benefit in the end because it allowed us to really clean up our BMP data. And then, of course, we have the added benefit now of being able to archive those inspection results. So to conclude, I believe we achieved a GIS-centric BMP inspection and reporting solution. It's nicely automated. Some of you may be asking why Survey 123 Connect and not field maps. Well, back in 2022, we looked at them both. The Connect application allowed us much greater flexibility than the form builder tool in Field Maps at the time. Field Maps has come a long ways in the last 3 years or so. So if we were to do this project over, we might look more towards Field Maps instead of Survey 123 Connect. So we are into now our 3rd year of the GIS-centric BMP inspections. Our inspectors are very happy. They weren't very happy the first time around, and we warned them, we told them, the first time you go through this GIS-centric workflow, you will have to fill out all of those questions again. Even though you know you've done that in the fillable PDF form, this first time through, you're going to have to enter and click the boxes and type stuff in. And, you know, we told them that, oh yes, Jay, no problem, happy to do it, yada, yada. No, they forgot all about that and began to complain. So as we work through some of the other minor hiccups that occurred towards the end of the 2nd year inspections and now into the 3rd year, they're seeing that when they click on a BMP feature and it brings up last year's inspection data, it's all there. What they once saw before in the fillable PDF when they were just copying and pasting is now all there in the inspections. And now they're beginning to accelerate and leverage the optimization that we've put together into this whole GIS-centric inspection and reporting solution. Always a few minor tweaks and so on, but overall, now that they're using it, it's getting quicker. On the return on the investment side, I was hoping for maybe a 20 to 25% reduction in time and so on. I actually think the number is greater, and I think it will be even more so as they get more and more comfortable with using this GIS-centric workflow. So there you have it. It's a lot of information. There's a lot going on behind the curtain. If you want to know more about, you know, the nuts and bolts of this, please reach out to us. We're happy to share that with you. I'm proud to say that in 2022, ESRI recognized this stormwater inspection reporting solution and gave us a special achievement in GIS award. So thrilled with that. That is the newest, our fairly new Newark train station, has a vegetated roof BMP. Our deputy director flew his drone up and somehow he managed to get the train coming through and a university bus and everything else there. So with that, let me introduce Shawnetta Grandberry. She is a senior program manager at the city of Carlsbad, California. Shawnetta will be presenting on configuring ArcGIS for stormwater asset management and update on the action system.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. As I was introduced, I'm Shawnetta Grandberry, and I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm not going to get as technical. My talk is an update. I made this presentation about 1.5 years ago for the same webinar. So they asked me to come back and give some updates on our system that we designed about 5 years ago called the Action System. And I hope some of you may have heard of it. First, I just want to tell you a little bit about Carlsbad and what our compliance issues were here and how we built an experience and not just a software design or architecture, and then give you some updates on what we've been doing for the past 5 years and how our program has worked out and the successes that we've had and some of our lessons learned. First of all, I just wanted to tell you who we are. I'm from the city of Carlsbad, and those of you not familiar, we're in Southern California, about 40 minutes north of the city of San Diego. We have a population of about 115,000, so we're kind of a mid-sized city. What makes us special is our 7 miles of coastline, and we have 3 lagoons here, none of which are terribly impaired, thankfully. We have A+ beaches here in Carlsbad, but we do serve as the tributary for our watershed that serves 8 additional cities. So for our regulatory background, we're under pretty much, for those of you that work for local governments, you're familiar with the NPDES permits, and some of you have permits for your own cities. Here in California, our authority from the EPA is goes to the State Water Resources Board, and through them, they have Regional Water Quality Control Board, and then the Regional Water Quality Control Board issues all the permits to all their jurisdictions, and we're in Region 9 here in Southern California. And our permit requirements are for green infrastructure or B&P, the treatment control or post-construction, whichever terms that you want to use today. Our requirements are to confirm that they are constructed and installed. We have to develop a watershed-based map of all of our structures. We have to verify that these structures have been maintained and continue to operate effectively, that we have to inspect 100% of our high priority structures prior to the rainy season, and that we have to provide documentation and assurance that all the maintenance is being done. So that's what our program is structured around, these 5 regulations, which doesn't sound like a lot, when you say it, but there is a lot that goes into it. So I've been doing this. This started in 2008 when we first got our regulations. And of course, I started, probably like a lot of you, started with an Excel spreadsheet. And I maintained that from 2008 to about 2020. And for years, I was looking for a solution because everything had become cumbersome. By the time 2020 came around, I had over 70,000 fields of data in Excel spreadsheet. I was using multiple databases to try to manage my program. I'm on our permits program, our licensing program. I'm on software outside of the city to look up parcel numbers and structures. Plus, it came with a lot of filings, so lots of folders. And I'm the only one that's doing the program. So if this something happened to the spreadsheet or something happened to me, I win the lottery. People pray for that. If I win the lottery and I go away, nobody be able to know how to work this. And the time I was spending about 6 months of the year, and it had gotten up to about 8 months just managing the program, because every year new structures get added to the system. Lots of paper comes with that. We did a calculation. We were using about 10,000 sheets of paper. And to add on top of that, the city said we couldn't buy any more software or spend any more money for software. So I kind of was stuck until about the end of 2019. We got a person that used to work for Esri for about 25 years, and they started with the city. And then they helped me build an experience. I had told a lot of people about what I wanted to do, but again, I am not a techie person. I don't know about Python scripts and all that ArcGIS stuff, but I do know about how to build a regulatory program. So what they helped, I'm sorry, a little bit of my slide is cut off. But what they helped me do was build a technical architecture around Esri products and Microsoft products and whatever other software we wanted to plug in. We couldn't afford to buy software, so we decided to do everything in-house. So we took, which I didn't know was different at the time, but we took a lot of different Esri apps. So the web builder, the Survey 123, the dashboards, the field maps, story maps, ArcGIS Pro. And we were able to find a way to make them all work together to create one program. And then because it's our program that we're creating, we're able to plug in other software apps that just kind of fit in, like Tableau or MS Power Automate or Word or Outlook. So when we did that, it was a big transitioning from going from 10,000 sheets of paper a year and an Excel spreadsheet and multiple databases. It took us about 4 months to get those 70,000 fields of data into the system. A lot of QA/QC went along with that. And we did a lot of field testing in the field with our own staff. So I have a part-time person that works with me. So my assistant would go out and test it in the field for us. And then we do the testing in the office, sending it out, sending emails to people if they're getting the notification. So what did we end up doing? We built what's called the action system: automation, compliance, tracking, inspections, owner notification. And what it is a comprehensive green infrastructure program management tool. Again, at the time, we were just doing this because I needed something for my program and Excel wasn't working. But it ended up being this great thing where we were able to incorporate all these different apps to make one program where we can virtualize a system as an integrated network. And 5, 6 years ago, this didn't exist. There was an inspection app and there was something you can do to track program, but there wasn't anything that worked together that also would reach out to the public. That's the owner notification part of it, where we have to verify maintenance with everyone. So as far as what we've been doing over the last 5 years, just this year, just last week, because May 1st is when we open up our portal to reach out to the public and get all of their maintenance records, we incorporated a mobile app. We didn't have that before. I've been wanting that for about 3 years, and I'm always waiting for the technology to catch up with what I'm thinking about. And so our GIS administrator was able to develop a mobile app, and not any kind of lots of tinkering with software. All she really ended up doing, she told me, was just changing whatever type of device that you're using, it will automatically adjust the screen size to that device. So we didn't necessarily have to create or code a new app. She just ended up being able to design a script that would adjust the screen size when you're looking at the app on your mobile device. So I don't have any statistics on how well it's working this year, but as of last Thursday, when we opened our portal, we've already gotten 300 responses of our 1,900 structures that have to be verified this year. So that's been great. Incorporating Power Automate. We did that about 3 years ago. Actually, the first year we did this, we tried Power Automate, kind of watched YouTube videos and try to figure out how it worked. And it worked, but it was still cumbersome. It took us a few hours to get all the emails automated and sent out, but it was better than the 2 days it used to take me. Then we got a person on staff who really knew how to use Power Automate. And now we send out weekly reminders to people to verify, to make sure they submit their verifications. The script is running automatically. We do have to check on it just to make sure it's not skipping anything. But it took us, I think, 30 minutes to run the whole script for 320 owners this year. So it's been great. I don't know about Power Automate, but I do know that it's working great for our program. Last year, we started playing with the idea of using QR codes for the letters that we send out and for the outreach materials. And then this year, so why can't we put the QR codes in the email and any of our paper that has their individual portals on it? So now we send out an email that has your QR code on it that goes to your specific owner portal where you can enter information about your BMPs. And I've also put a specific QR code on the letters. There's about 9 letters that we still have to send out for people we don't have their email addresses for. And that I put that on the letter. So no more do they have to email me to get their link to their portal. And then I email them back. And now it can go directly to the portal. So I'm hoping that's going to work great this year. We incorporated surveys a few years ago, and this has been key to figuring out where we have gaps in our program. Getting the feedback, that's why we have the mobile app. That's why we decided to use the QR codes. That's why we started to use Power Automate, just feedback from people about the service that we're receiving. And we also asked them to rate their experience with the action system, and they've given us 4 out of 5. I'm still shooting to try to get a 5, but I'll take the 4 for now. And it also helps us with our statistics, engage what the public is feeling and thinking. And then we have a companion survey that goes along with that, but just about, do you understand what green infrastructure is? Do you know how your site is important to helping protect the environment, and questions like that. And the greatest thing to come out of developing the action system has been empowering users. Like I said, 5 or 6 years ago, this didn't exist because I was looking for it. I was looking for something that could make my green infrastructure program work, where I'm combining the ownership with the city information, the parcel information, and the maintenance records, all that stuff combined, inspections, all that stuff combined in one system. And so that's what took us to build it. And I've been presenting about this program for the last 5 years. And I've made presentations for City of Olympia and Pomona and Kansas City. And even Esri has taken our inspection app to kind of to boost the product that they just offered at the beginning of this, was a little bit of it. I will take a little bit of credit in Carlsbad for inspiring Esri to kind of update or create a better product for their customers. And even on the public market, I just saw a company is actually selling a system that does what the action system that we built inside our office with internal staff. So that has been great. So as far as the successes that we've had, success in action, we actually do keep the metrics. So 58% reduction in our program costs because of the action system. We've reduced paper and files by 94%. We have increased our responses to our verification and maintenance 34%, reduced our staff time spent on stormwater programs. So I'm only doing it like 3 months of the year now. Reduced inspection time 90%. So these numbers, this is compared from 2020 to 2025. And there's even some softer metrics in there that you may not see. Like I was talking about mailers. When we first started this program, I was doing kind of a hybrid mailing program, but I was doing everything manually. So I would email out 200 mailers by hand and with attachments. So it would still take like 2 days to do this. In 2020, we were down to 42 mailers that we had to actually send out. And you see a jump in 2023, and that's because we added about 300 structures to the program, but then it's right back down in 24. And this year, like I said, I only sent out 9 mailers of the 321 owners that we have to reach out to. And we've already gotten, for our nearly 2,000 structures, we've already gotten 300 responses. Over the last 5 years, we've saved approximately 80,000 sheets of paper just doing this program. And so collaboration, I have, because we did something different, like I said, I didn't know it was that different 5 years ago. We've been recognized by several agencies for our work. The 2 that I'm most proud of is our 2022 California Stormwater Quality Association Award for Best Outstanding Public Outreach Project. And of course, our Esri Award for Special Achievement in GIS. It's been great being recognized. This is my team. We're collaborating on how we can take a picture together. And because I don't have a lot of time to break it open and how we did this, I've written so many articles over the last few years about our success to our program. And Esri has been gracious enough to publish them: American Infrastructure Magazine, Granicus, Tri-State Magazine, Arc News. These articles are still up on their various web pages if you'd be interested in reading about our story and how we were able to develop this program with internal staff. Some of the lessons that we've learned in the process that I'd like to pass on to you is, this is what I learned from our business system specialist: set happens, systematic errors in the text. I get so frustrated when I find errors from that carried on, even from our Excel spreadsheet. We have to look for them all the time. And I would get so frustrated because since it was just me working on 70,000 fields of data, there was always errors in there. So just be patient with yourself when you're doing a transition like this. It takes time, and QA/QC is essential, and it's always being done. We are continually monitoring through Tableau reports when there's anomalies or nulls or misspellings in fields. So just be sure. Think about configuration versus customization. A lot like me, when I was trying to do this program over 6-7 years ago, I was looking outside, trying to buy something. If there's on the market, couldn't find anything. Everything was so expensive, and didn't even think about any of our programs could be configured in our office to work for what we needed done. And so that's what we did. We were able to configure all of these apps to be able to work together and create one program without spending a nickel on any of it. It's just our staff time and the managers of those people that allow them to work on our project. Change management. For those of you who are program managers like me, who are environmentalists, who do this, going from Excel spreadsheet to doing something like this was a big change for me. but it was something that I really had to learn how to do. It doesn't look anything like I imagined it would 5 or 6 years ago, but it works a lot better than I thought it ever would. So be able to embrace change and be ready that it's always going to be better than you thought it would be. And be prepared to rethink everything. And that's where another one for us non-techie people is, when the techie people tell you it's going to work like this and you don't think it is, they're going to be probably right, and it's going to be great. So just be bold, be able to work with people, collaborate. We're going to create a great environment. Just have the vision for it, and innovation comes out of it. And the most important thing I want to pass on to you, especially for you managers, is empowering your staff to think outside the box, to be able to create programs. You don't always have to go outside. There's great staff that you have already that will be able to do something for you. And if you're really interested in learning about what we do, what we've done here at the City of Carlsbad and with the Action System, please contact me. Thank you for having me today. And I'm gonna pass this over to Julio. I wrote it down, Kuwajima. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shawnetta. Great case. I'm really inspired for everything you showed me. And Jay has also shown us a very exciting user case. And I'm going to take off and explain a little bit on how you can improve your reporting and GIS data, how you use the GIS data throughout the entire life cycle of a stormwater infrastructure. My name is Julio Kuwajima, and I work for Bentley Systems. For those who do not know Bentley Systems, we are an infrastructure engineering software company, and our purpose is to advance the world's infrastructure for better quality of life. And of course, managing stormwater is a key part of it. And around the world, we empower our users, professionals to rely on our technology to help them design, build, and operate better and more resilient infrastructure for water, transportation, energies, cities, and much more. This is just a brief summary of our today's agenda. I'm going to explain to you what digital twins are, how that applies to the infrastructure life cycle, and how you can improve the stormwater compliance during the project delivery, stormwater compliance as a performance, and continue doing that. First thing I want to show you is the infrastructure of digital twins. What I want to bring you to your attention is that picture you're seeing right now, we're going to see several layers of data. And the digital twins are basically connecting all those data together, just like what Shawnetta just showed us in her case. On building a digital twin, you are able to connect surface data, GIS data, engineering data, IoT data, reality capture reality data, and enterprise data, and connect all data to take insights out of that. So we are going to connect a lot of different databases. And we are making the digitalization work for us. When we make all the data digital, we can make queries. We can search and report the data, no matter on what cycle of the infrastructure you are, whether you're designing or operation maintenance. That also allows us to visualize and analyze regulatory risks and compliance, and find where you want to act. And of course, as this is a digital platform, it's transparent, and you can collaborate a lot easier. And these also, all that said, enable better informed decision based on data, and you can make more accurate decisions to make these critical infrastructure not only reliable, but effective. And this is what we call the infinity loop at Bentley, where you have the design phase, where you're going to make sure the BMP or the stormwater network you're working on is compliant to regulatory requirements, design requirements, and also to take permits. You can also extract all data, that the decision making that you're making on the design. so you can get the permits, get the best decision to make that stormwater infrastructure effective. And later on, all that information is passed seamlessly to the build phase. During the build phase, there's a lot of things that can be found during the construction, and they can make some changes or make some decisions that may slightly change the design phase. So as we are doing a disconnected version of the asset digital, you can easily check if that decision is going to make the system worse or is okay to make that decision making. With that, you get a very effective infrastructure to operate, and you can get real-time data and find exactly what are the bottlenecks, the weakness parts of your systems, and of course, you can better use your workforce to maintenance phase. Of course, these infrastructure are built to last, but they don't last forever. And eventually, you're gonna need to evaluate new parts of the system that need to be redesigned or reinforced or rehabilitated. And then we go back to design phase. So we offer this platform where you can bring all those data together so you can have a better asset management and also report on every phase how much it costs, how much issues you had in a transparent and digital way. So I'm going to show some videos right now because I'm the philosophy of showing is believing. And I'm going to show you how we can help you to improve reporting and use GIS data throughout the entire life cycle. The first video I have is in the design phase. And we have here a data acquisition feature in which we have this online platform where you can find ArcGIS data according to the location where you're designing your network infrastructure. And you can add several layers of GIS data. For instance, you can also use Cesium databases to incorporate and have better elevation models to make better design decisions on your network. And one thing that I want to highlight is that we can integrate with contextual information from multiple high quality sources, including Cesium, the World Terrain Model, USGS terrain data. We can also integrate with streaming services like GIS, Esri platforms. We can also use files, GeoTIFF, LandXMLs, CAD files, and this Cesium platform that I just showed you, it enables 3D geospatial capabilities, and it's very intuitive, and you add more context to your engineering and designing decision making. And the Cesium plus the iTwin enables developers to seamlessly align 3D geospatial data with engineering, surface, IoT, reality, enterprise data to create digital twins. And with that, you can enable your design to be ready for flood management and forecasting, be more resilience planning and emergency responses, and you can analyze and simulate situations and risk all decision making you're making through the parts. Still on the design phase, we have the same platform. You have your location of your project, and you can get the IDF curves automatically. You don't need to go to the precipitation frequency data server from NOAA and get the latitude, longitude, and search for all the map and click and get your IDF curve. Based on the location that your project is located, you can get the correct IDF curve, so you don't risk of making bad design decisions, so you can better design. I'm going to tell a little story from my country, Brazil. Our capital was built in 1960. And back then, we didn't have too much data to build that city because it was in the middle of nowhere, no infrastructure. So we took the closest location IDF curves, and we made really poor decision making. So getting the actual data is key to make your expensive and critical infrastructure effective. Another picture on still on design phase. We have a co-pilot assistance that helps you to check some designs requirements if it's meeting the requirements. For instance, right now I'm making questions on this co-pilot to give me the the pond the dimensions, so you can check if it's compliant to the regulations requirements. Of course, this is a generative AI in which you can train it to get all the local requirements, so you can check what are the requirements needed, and then we can check in as you design. So this is a very real-time design optimization tool, and it gives you instant suggestions and to complex problems. This platform is still on the design. It also has a integrated hydrological modeling tool, in which allows you to design ponds and networks and getting the IDF curves, and you make also the grading of the site, all bolstered by AI, and it would automatically design and find the correct piping networks. So you see that we are layering a lot of data, GIS data, engineering data, and we're building a resilient infrastructure from scratch. We just need a few clicks and we get all the information, and we are able to properly design retention ponds and infrastructures. And also, because we're talking about hydrological and hydraulic modeling, you can also model the water quality and how that is going to impact the environment. And talking about the environment, we also have capabilities of simulating low impact development infrastructures for runoff flow management, or if you are in UK, the SUDS, Sustainable Urban Drainage Systems. And these systems are unlikely what we saw where we have a traditional network drainage system. This allows you for slow infiltration and thus reducing the peaks of these propagation waves. So this is an also very sustainable and resilient way to improve existing infrastructure. And you can also see, you can add context of the buildings, the soils, so you can make the correct decision-making on the project. And of course, now we're starting getting to the build phase. We also have a tool that allows you to collaborate with different contractors, designers, where you can simply just bring all the engineering information and create design issues, send documents, and also that applies also to regulation. So instead of sending emails or sending mails, you can simply just log those regulatory agency in that platform, and they get a file, so they can check online what is happening with the construction and the project. And now we're getting to the operate and maintenance phase, and we have here a real-time digital twin for operations. We're coupling hydraulic model, GIS data, sensor data, IoT all together, and we get real-time simulation, and we can get predictions of manhole overflows according to the weather forecast. So if there's going to rain in the upcoming hours, there will be an alert of possible overflow points, and you can get issues, what you see in the last image, and you can also simulate emergency results like shutting down pumps or blockages, and you can see the dashboard, how it's operating, the precipitation, and the past and the future. So we have a forecast here, and you can see that it's predicted a surge, and now you get to the alert page where you can assign tasks for the maintenance team, and you can be more proactive on the operation and maintenance. And now that online, transparent, you can share BI reports, you can get your regulatory agency permission to access that BI and check. So you're also making reporting a lot easier. And finally, we also going to start the loop again. This is also operation and maintenance. Let's say you don't have all the GIS data correct, and you need to find the manholes, and you don't have too much manpower to do it. We have an AI identification tool in which you can have a drone imagery and automatically find the manhole. So you can start rebuilding that GIS data, which is the bottom of the layer, to restart doing the asset management. With that said, I want to conclude my presentation with that sentence. If you haven't understood anything I said, just memorize that. We make complex simple with our technology, connecting all those different databases. And if you want to talk to me, please write to me. This is my email. And before we conclude this webinar, I'd like to invite Jake Lahmann from Berntsen International. Welcome, Brent. One second, I cannot stop my presentation.
Yeah, thank you, Julio, and hello, everyone. And good morning or good afternoon, depending upon where you're at. Give me just a moment here. I'll get set up with my screen. And there we go. Before we get started, just a quick background about myself. I have been in the world of infrastructure asset management and intelligence technologies for the past 25 plus years. Makes me feel a little bit old when I read that. In the most recent decade, I worked for Lahmann Industries, leading up innovation teams and business developments, all focused on asset management, providing services commercially across the U.S. for some pretty notable names in investor-owned utilities and, of course, public utilities that you're probably a part of today. On the technology front, very blessed with the technologies we developed. We were awarded 7 patents involving robotics for asset management, drones, and artificial intelligence models to make those drones and robots do things better, faster, everything for asset management. And we're very lucky to put the technology to the test. We broke 2 world records for inspection efficiencies, taking things from for the electric utility industry, making it 15x more efficient. Last fall, I met a company called Berntsen International, a really cool team working on some really cool technology called InfraMarker. I liked it so much, so excited as to what it does for the world of asset management and all the different segments to include stormwater. I joined the team this year. And I want to share with you a little bit about what excited me and how it might be applicable to your role in stormwater. And maybe you're in some other industry as well. There's going to be some applicability for you. So diving in, answering the question, what is InfraMarker? It's the same question I asked last fall when I was introduced to it. And there's 3 basic components to InfraMarker. And on this slide, we're going to look at 2. The first one being, as you look in the different application photos, you'll find some tags. And those are the InfraMarker certified RFID tags that make each asset very unique. And you can see in some of them on the bottom right on the street sign there, there's a little white and green tag. That's an InfraMarker tag, a little bitty one on the fire hydrant there, and on the stormwater catch basin in the top middle, we do see a small circular InfraMarker RFID tag. And then, of course, all the technicians that you're seeing there are holding an InfraMarker RFID scanner to write information to that tag, and of course, extract information from that tag. So those are the first 2 components. The third one, and very important one, is the software itself. You might say this is how the magic happens for InfraMarker. And to make it really simple, with the software, it connects the field back to the office, and then vice versa. Of course, those of you who are in management, you want to know what's going on out in the field, productivity, of course, and make sure they're on the right assets. The technicians in the field They might also need information about the assets if the InfoMarker solution is connected to wonderful platforms like ArcGIS. They can pull information, maybe like what Jay was talking about. They can get historical photos, they can do real-time change analysis, or maybe engineering drawings, whatever it may be. But getting both groups connected is what the software does. And I want to share with you some additional benefits to InfoMarker, but we'll talk a little bit about some of the challenges or problems that asset management and compliance teams have. And I'm not going to walk through the whole list for you, but the first one I'll talk about it, and it's asset identification, a challenge that is universal across the infrastructure segments and definitely with stormwater. In my previous life at Valmont, we had 150 pilots, 100 inspectors that would go out to the field. So a lot of folks rolling out there in very large projects. One of the things that I learned pretty early on in establishing those programs is technicians have a very difficult time, even on large assets, large structures like electric utility towers, telecom towers, big light poles. They have oftentimes a difficult time identifying one from the other. And that's really born from just the basics of life when they're out in the field. It's a long day. All those assets start to look, they can't tell the difference between one and the next. And if it's really cold outside or really hot outside, it gets even worse. And sometimes the technicians, they get up to an asset and they have right one, but they can't even remember it. Well, did I do the inspection or not? And so solutions like InfoMarker connecting to other systems like ArcGIS and others, it really enables the technician to know confidently that they are going to the right assets. And if that asset is obscured for whatever reason, maybe in times past barcodes were used, or maybe there's a data plate, the InfoMarker RFID solution solves that because it is radio waves, and you can read through the obscurity of those old legacy solutions. So where that helps with efficiency is the field technician can know 100% certain that they are in fact going to the correct asset. They're using systems like ArcGIS, so there's no pen and paper, no manual entry, and it makes for a very efficient workflow. And of course, getting a system like that in place with RFID, there's a lot of different ways that you can use it to enable complete life cycle tracking. And in simple terms, the way that you can think of InfoMarker really is as an extension of whatever tool you're using. I mentioned Esri a couple of times. It's a very popular solution for asset management and compliance activities, but that can also extend to your ERP or asset management system. If you're using Maximo or CityWorks, InfoMarker can connect into that. Whatever destination you want the data to go, InfoMarker can help with that. And of course, downstream, whatever you have it connected to, the technicians out in the field can benefit from that. If you have more information in other platforms, you can send that information back their direction. For the compliance side of things, InfoMarker does come with a built-in audit-ready feature to where you can easily extract all the activities that were happening to your assets. Because the InfoMarker tags have memory built in, there's a lot of additional information beyond a unique ID that the InfoMarker tags can support. One of those being lat long. So you can know geospatially where that asset is at. And if there's any questions, what has been done with the assets, here you go. Export it to CSV or other programs, whatever you might need. And another benefit that I love about the audit ready feature of InfoMarker is on the contract side. And in my commercial life, providing asset management services, I use a lot of subcontractors. You might be using contractors in your line of work, and questions come up. Did the work really get done? Was it overbilling for the hours? So this gives you a great tool to where you can either challenge those invoices or pay them confidently. Love that aspect of InfoMarker. And lastly, the InfoMarker solution, you can use it for a lot more than just asset management. On the supply chain aspect of it, the material inventory, you can put InfoMarker, you can have your vendors when they're making your assets, have InfoMarker installed. So you can track it there if you want at the manufacturing facility, and then all the way downstream to the laydown yards and the construction phase. If you want good documentation, did your construction teams put the right assets in the right place, and build that Lego set, if you may, in the right way. And then if you have crews, you're going to have tools, you're going to have trucks, and InfoMarker is right at home for that application as well. Keeping track of your vehicle maintenance, if that's so desired. And my crews back in the day had a lot of tools in each of those trucks. And it was always a pain manually inventorying those every year. And InfoMarker, can make that inventory possible in just minutes versus hours. But there you go. That's InfoMarker. Those are just a handful of the things of why I'm pretty excited about the InfoMarker solution. I'd be just as excited to hear from you, your questions here during the webinar. If you do want to email us, info@infomarker.com, and you can scan that QR code there if you so desire. And on that note, I would like to welcome back the other panelists, and so we can have a discussion there.
All right, everyone, that was a fantastic presentation. I'm sure everyone's noticed by now that we have a lot of speakers and presenters on this particular webinar, so there's a lot to cover, a lot that's been covered. We're going to try and get to as many questions as we can during this live portion. But while we're waiting for everybody to join, I thought we'd cover a couple of the notes that were kind of asked in the back end that might clear things up for everybody. One was someone was asking what BMP stands for, and BMP can be used in a lot of things, but it stands for Best Management Practices. In this particular case, it stands for the devices, practices, and methods used to manage stormwater runoff. Just in case I was wondering. Also, this is being recorded, so you can watch it later if you didn't get everything. And there's also a resources page, so that if you need to look at everything that you might have not been able to take notes, it's all there. All right, so these questions kind of came in chronological order. So I'm going to start from the beginning so people can kind of know when they expected these are directed toward them. However, they very likely could appeal to anybody, so we'll give everybody a chance to chime in if they would like to ask. The first question. For the catch basin and outlet inspection solution, are users able to edit the pre-configured form to add information specific to the municipality or permit?
Yes. A little bit longer answer. All of our solutions are configurable. It just, depending on the changes, there might be downstream effects to be aware of. So feel free to contact me.
Okay, that's specifically for Brandi. And here's another one I'm pretty sure is specifically for her. Are the ArcGIS solutions compatible with the Fulcrum Field app?
Yes, so well, depends on what you mean by compatible. But as you saw, a lot of the speakers here, technology is built on the ESRI platform, and a quick Google search I did for Fulcrum is they are a partner. So the data you capture with their solution and the data you capture with my solution are able to talk to each other.
Okay, again, I think this one is also for Brandi, but this one might be applicable to others. Will this benefit mapping of the Julie laws for 2026 for Illinois?
I don't know if this is specifically for me, but that was a call before you dig, essentially, is what I found out with a quick Google search. So GIS data can be a part of the call before you dig system. And if you don't have your information mapped, you can use our solution to help get those assets in a GIS, which may inform, but I don't know how that program's administered. So I don't know if anyone else has a better understanding of that.
Anyone real quick, or should I move on? All right, we'll move on to the next one. I believe these may have been for Jay, but again, we'll keep it open for the panel. Are you still considering doing an ROI on using GIS-centric BMP?
Yes, I'm kind of passionate about tweaking out or finding the return on investment. Obviously, the city manager and the mayor and city council, they tune into that kind of stuff. So I tried to initially, but I think I'll have a little better success of teasing out the ROI now that the inspectors are into their third year of using the solution. They're getting used to using it. You know, if I come in and say, how long did it take you to do an inspection and write the report in the past versus how you do now? I think they feel like they're under the microscope a little bit. And so I do hope that at some point I can get a firm number on the ROI.
Okay, thanks. I believe this is also asked for Jay, but it's close to when Shawnetta came around, so let's find out. What would be the best way for presenting new ideas for GIS for a geotechnical and construction materials testing facility when they haven't expanded their work to incorporate GIS in their work? I'm currently in school for geosciences with a concentration in data analytics. I'll be learning these, and as someone who's only an admin, I would like to provide value. That was it.
That sounds like Jay.
Okay. I was thinking about the other question above. What do the inspectors think about the new workflow? But we can come back to that. Yeah, I don't do much geotechnical and construction materials testing stuff.
I think this is like for I'll just jump in, Jay.
Yeah.
This is for any organization that you join. If you think there's a need and you think that is technology to help solve business needs in your organization, run a pilot, do something on your own time,
Yeah.
try to show how this technology can impact the business you're in. It doesn't matter where you are, right? Leaders are everywhere in an organization. So go ahead and show that initiative.
Yeah, I agree with Brandi. But don't get frustrated and not do it, because you'll find that you're trying to drive change into an organization that, you know, it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of stuff. So if you can come in with a great example, a great case study, and it resonates with the decision makers, and it resonates with the staff that may be seeing a big change in how they do their work, you know, keep after it, and you will have some success eventually. For me, I get impatient. I'm sorry, I get impatient. I see that, man, this thing can make the job easier. You can work smarter, not harder. You're still doing the job you were hired to do. You know, use it. And they're like, not so sure about that. So yeah, I think setting up a pilot or a case study is a great way to demonstrate that value.
All right, Jason, since you're on the stage, there's a couple that I'm pretty sure are geared towards you. Is your system exportable to other municipalities?
What we put together, we didn't use Esri's stormwater inspection solution. I think that came out after we developed our internal solution. So We basically used ArcGIS Pro, Survey123 Connect, and Field Maps to build this together. And I can show you in greater detail what we did if you want to reach out. So yes, it's exportable, but you will have to do the building of it yourself or find someone to do it for you. We tend to do all our app work internally. We don't build huge complex or complicated solutions, although this BMP inspection one is in that realm. We tend to look for the pain points, and it can be a simple web map with a layer that you edit to get us, past a roadblock. So yes, it's exportable, but not, I can't just pick it up and give it to you.
All right, this one also I'm pretty sure is for Jay because it has the word Newark in it. What are the
Oh boy.
what is the best class to take to learn how to build such a system that you have?
Oh dear. I don't think there's a single class that you can take. I would, if you're an ArcGIS Pro user, certainly that's one part of it. Survey123 Connect has a pretty good learning curve to it. And we went that way because we wanted a lot of flexibility and if you answer the question this way, there's some logic in it and so on. I think the field maps form builder now is far more sophisticated than it was 3 years ago. And you could probably take a few classes, if you're a subscriber, an Esri subscriber, go into ArcGIS Online, go to their training page. They have an overwhelming amount of information there on Pro and on Survey123 Connect and on field maps and their solutions tools and so on. And, take those pieces and do your homework on those pieces, and you can probably pull together that solution rather nicely. Or you can download Brandi's solution and can learn to configure that. We like I say, we tend not to take on those big solutions because that now you're having to push a lot of drive through the organization, and that's not who we are here in the little town of the city of Newark, Delaware. I
Okay,
hope
we've
that
got
answers your question.
I believe it sounds like it did to me. There's a question here for Brandi that just came in. Am I to understand that Esri already has these forms available for users, and is that a separate cost?
It's all of our solutions are free. So you are able to download any one of our solutions and take a look at the forms, take a look at the tables, see how we've structured it, and go ahead and grab it and use it on your own solution.
Okay, we've got a question here for Julio. Can you incorporate sea level projection data?
Sure. He's probably mentioning that acquisition. You can bring any information you have to the digital twin, and including the season has a world map of the sea level, so you can also leverage that.
Okay, and I don't want to leave Jake out, so here's a question for him. How secure are infra markers from vandalism? Are they easy to be removed or replaced? And how do field workers know where, on a large asset, the marker can be located?
Yeah, a really good question. The infomarker tags, many of the solutions can be, because we have quite a variety of them. Some of them are very rugged, resistant to vandalism or weather or what have you. But also there can be an inherent way that you can make them very vandal proof. Here's one of the tags. I don't know if it's going to allow to show it, but they're really small. So people just can't see it. If you can't see it, you're not going to know to vandalize it. And if you do need to replace it, they're very inexpensive, depending upon how your mounting method. You can swap it out in just a couple of minutes. And as far as locating these tags, what I would recommend for any team that is adopting them for their assets, come up with a uniform way for where you want them on the assets. Of course, you want them easily accessible for technicians, and in the case of obscured items like underground valves, you might want to have an SOP as to where they're placed relative to the valve.
Okay, we've got time for maybe one, maybe two more questions, so feel free to keep asking them. If we don't get to them live, I'm sure that the panelists will be able to respond to you later on through email or other means. And I like that this person, because of a large group, made it clear that it was for everyone. If possible, is anyone on the panel familiar with the ArcGIS AEC project delivery subscription-based program? Were you able to make ready-made GIS accounts for potential customers? Question.
I might be the only one who's aware of that program. Yes, I would contact your account manager, to be honest with you. If you are in an AEC firm, you have that capability, that would be my recommendation. There really wasn't a question here other than are we familiar with it? So I'll leave it at that, but we can follow up if you don't know your account manager and I can help you find them.
That's about all the time. Does anyone have anything to add before we wrap up on that last comment about the AEC subscription program?
There was another question earlier on that I think I can answer quickly. It's what do the inspectors think about the new workflow? And did they find transition from paper to digital environment difficult? Of course, they were a little skeptical at first. They were used to a fillable PDF that they could copy and paste year over year over year and make changes to it. So they were already used to kind of doing an inspection in a digital environment, although it was a bit of a learning curve to jump to the GIS-centric one. Where things began to fall apart a little bit is when we started to uncover some data issues. And that's when they said, oh, I can't do it in the new workflow. I want to run back to the old way of doing it. So we quickly worked through those data issues and got them back on track. And the feedback we're hearing now is full steam ahead. So it's the kind of the usual. You have to manage that change as best you can.
All right, thanks, Jay. Thanks for noting that we hadn't gotten to that one, and that was an excellent answer. I think that's going to wrap this presentation up very nicely. So thank you everyone out there for joining us. That is all the time we have today, and apologies we didn't get to answer your question if we did not. They will likely be answered up later on at a follow-up when they can. So this ends today's webinar. Hope you all enjoy the rest of your day, and please come back for future educational opportunities. Thank you.